Hi, and welcome to Mom Boss Chronicles. We are your host. I am Jen.
I'm Sue.
And we are empowering and inspiring people through meaningful conversations. So make sure to like and subscribe to listen to great content weekly. Welcome back, everyone, to Mom Boss Chronicles. Today, Sue and I are going to be talking about being women in our 40s, how to own it, everything that we've learned, what we would tell our younger selves, and things we want to know going forward. So if you're in your 40s, you're going to love this conversation. If you're not in your 40s, all good. Listen, you can see what your future will look like. Or if you're older, tell us if you agree with us, the things that we're going to be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So Sue and I are actually born the same year.
Yes, 1983, baby.
Yes.
What's so funny is I remember when I was little and going to over the hill parties,
God.
birthday parties.
Yeah.
And, granted, people are living much longer and whatnot, but, we're freaking over the hill.
I know. I remember
It's
40
so hard.
literally felt like so much older.
So much older.
So much older.
And listen, I think a common misconception, and I think that this probably even goes into your later years, right, is that you would know everything at this point, right? You have it all figured out, career-wise, how to raise your kids, running a household, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And
no more problems.
Yeah, right. Everything is peachy keen. And what a crock of shit, okay? Because I feel like I'm still 18.
Oh my God, yes.
In my brain.
In my mind, I'm like a teen mom.
Yes. Sometimes I'll stand in my house. I'm like, I can't even believe I have a house and a kid.
I know.
Who gave me this child?
Yeah. Where did these kids come from?
Right. What the hell?
Yeah. It's I just want my mommy. Could she plan my vacation?
Yeah. Hello. Who's cooking dinner tonight? Oh, it's me. Fuck.
That's so true, right? It's kind of like you blink and you're like, wow, we're here.
Yeah. But, so that aspect of knowing everything in your 40s or 50s, I guess the best way to describe it for any younger folks is just surrender to the fact now that you are always going to be in a state of learning.
Oh my God, 1,000%.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think when you surrender to that, a whole new chapter, a whole light, shines on your life. Where it's okay. You don't know such and we're all learning and you're still going
to make mistakes.
Totally.
I think you think when you're in your 40s, if you make a mistake, it's oh my God, how could you make a mistake? You're in your 40s. How dare you?
Yeah.
No.
You should know this by now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's no, 40-year-olds are going to make mistakes. 50-year-olds make mistakes. 6-years we all make mistakes. We're human.
Mm-hmm. And we learn from them.
Yes.
Right? If you keep making the same ones over and over, then that's on you, man.
Yes.
But
yes.
You have to give yourself grace in that regard for sure. I think what I have, so in my 20s, and even younger. So for anyone younger listening, in my 20s, I had a ton of fun. Mm-hmm. But I did not have a level of confidence.
Yeah,
that, right.
Yeah.
I was very self-conscious about my body and, my achievements.
And your future.
Right. Everything. What does that look like? And I had this idea in my head, I want to be married by 30 and I want this and blah, blah, blah. It was everything
pressure.
had to fall into this place. But also you just have this, and when you're not hitting those benchmarks, you're well, what's wrong with me?
I know.
Yeah. And then once I hit my 30s, I was you start, you're career-wise, you're probably a little more established.
Yes.
Probably making some money.
Yes.
You're traveling with your friends, you're doing fun stuff. And maybe some people did find their person and settle down by that time. But for me, in my 30s, I had a fucking blast.
That's
and then
awesome.
I started
you hit your stride
hit
more.
my stride more.
Yeah.
Right. And felt more confident in myself where I didn't feel like I needed to be validated by other people, specifically men, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was I want a nice person to settle down with.
Yeah.
And I have my fair share of frogs that I've kissed. But in my 30s, I felt like I didn't give a shit. It was either you like it or you don't.
And you didn't get married till your mid-30s?
Yeah, I was 34.
Right. And so imagine telling your 20-year-old self that. You'd be like, oh my God,
I'm ew, right. Ew. I'm going to be 34. Ew, so old. Yeah, for sure. 100%. But for me personally,
but looking back, you probably wouldn't want to, right?
No.
I wouldn't change that for a thing.
No, because I needed to grow up too. I definitely changed a lot in my 20s and into my 30s, right? So I was the better version of myself.
Yeah.
To get married.
To be a wife.
And to be a wife, to settle down, to have a child and stuff like that. And the 30s were fun career-wise for me. I worked in corporate. It was super stressful, but I loved it. I was
awesome.
really excelling.
You traveled.
Right. You know,
You
so
enjoyed
before
that,
I
yeah.
had like the responsibility of being a mother for the most part, you know, it was, yes, like I was very focused on work. I got to travel a lot for work. I
Yeah.
got to travel a lot for fun.
Yeah.
And
So it fell in the right place.
Yeah.
But in your 20s, you stressed about it.
it's hard to envision that.
Right? That's going to
Like,
fall into the right
yeah.
same. Because I remember having literally a quarter life crisis. I was 25. I graduated from college with a history degree. And I was like, what the hell am I going to do?
Yep.
And it was like right around the time of the recession, like 2008 and 2009. And I just felt like nothing was going to work out. I don't know why, but like, I don't know if all 20-year-olds do this, but you put such pressure
Yes.
in your mid-20s to have it figured out.
Yep.
And you're going to stumble. And that's part of life. And it's
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing to stumble and fail.
Right.
Why are we afraid of failure?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like part of that, and I try to look back at younger folks now too. Like, I think there's a sense of like overzealousness, right? Like,
Yeah.
well, I have it all figured out. I know what we need to do, but you're like, no, not yet. You
Yeah.
don't know. You really, like, you think you do.
Yeah. But then the shoe's just going to drop
You're
or
right.
something's going to,
Yeah, like it doesn't work like that. You know, there
Yeah.
are some aspects to life. Like, you do have to fail, right?
Yes.
Like, you
everyone has to fail.
you have to fall down and smack your face.
I know.
on the
And it's
concrete
going to be hard. The truth is, failing sucks. It hurts. But it's okay because you're not the only one, I promise you.
Yeah.
People don't post their fails a lot online.
No.
You're not going to see it. But if you talk to people, there's so many things that they've done that didn't work out the way they envisioned.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I wish I could tell my younger self, like, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Nope. And that's the other thing too, is thinking that you have to have all of these things to be perfect and aligned before you make a jump to something new.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it was like, well, I'm afraid to apply for this new job because I don't know all of these things that
Skills,
they're asking
yeah.
for. But like, if you sit down and think about it, there's nothing you can't do.
Yep.
You
And
know,
if
as
you
long
don't
as it's
raise
not
your
brain
hand-
surgery,
Yeah.
you could figure it out
And
eventually.
if you don't raise your hand to do it and you're waiting for somebody to pick you, they're not. You have
Right.
to make you move yourself.
You got to jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. for
Get
sure.
uncomfortable.
Right.
Like one of the best advice I would tell myself, and I did end up doing it, get uncomfortable. Do the things that scare you.
Right.
Like,
And
that's how you'll
it's
grow.
hard to envision that, right? When
Yeah.
you're in your 20s, I think, because you just kind of like are like, I don't know. Although, I don't know. The younger generation does seem a little bit more risk takers.
I hope so.
Than like maybe we were, because I think we also grew up with like our parents who were like, nope, you get a job and you stay, you know, you
Yeah.
just don't do anything that's going to rock the boat too
Yes,
much.
I
Yeah.
know, because our parents loved us and want to protect us. And as parents myself, I don't want to see my kids fail. But I
Right.
know they're going to, and it's
Yeah.
going to hurt to see them, but they're going to have to learn their mistakes. And I think another thing that happens in your 20s too, you and your friends are all going through life together. So it's hard to give each other advice because
Right.
nobody has it figured out. So maybe in your 20s, you should get a mentor, somebody who's older.
I
who
didn't think about that.
Right?
That's a really good
Like
idea.
somebody to tell you,
Yeah.
hey, I was in your shoe.
Right.
Things didn't work out the way I wanted, but then it fell into place, or I did this and then it fell into place. Because I feel like in your 20s, you don't want to talk about mistakes. You want to talk about failures because
Right.
you want to seem like you know it
like,
better.
like
right?
I'm thriving.
I figured it out. Yeah.
So I was really lucky. First law firm that I worked at, I worked with a lot of older women.
I love that.
Not like super old, but like they were
Yeah,
at least like
a
about
decade.
10 years
Yeah.
older than I was. And, you know, sometimes like I was the overzealous person, you know, I was
Yeah.
like, well, I want to be a manager and I'm, you know, you're aspiring to all of these things. But they were so good at like mentoring me
I love
on
that.
like, take a breath.
Yeah. It's going to be
There's
okay.
still a lot you have to learn.
Uh-huh.
You know, you have to walk before you can run kind of situation. And I learned actually like a lot from them, although at that time you don't, like, it's like your parent, right? You don't see the lesson at the time.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, she's telling me, like, I know, you know,
Yeah.
you think you know it
You don't want to
all.
hear it. You're like,
You think you know it all, right?
Yeah.
And then like in my 30s, I looked back on that and I was really grateful for that advice, that guidance, because it helped me later on in life when I got over myself.
yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then, like, you know, my 40s, we want to share, you know, we have some younger folks in our office, or
Uh-huh.
I love the idea of mentoring people.
Yeah.
But I get it, right? You have to think in your head, too. Like, you're sharing what you think is good advice with somebody, but they may not see it just yet.
You're
know?
right.
But like,
They're not
plant
ready to
some
receive
seeds.
that message.
Yeah.
They'll get that message. It might not
Right.
be the way that they want to receive it,
Yeah.
but it'll sink in.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, definitely confidence rise, right? Like, 40s, like, so we're almost 2 years in.
Yeah.
To our 40s,
I know this year
which
we'll
is
be
wild.
turning 42. Yeah.
But I think the beauty of growing wiser is a continued sense of feeling like confident in yourself or sure of yourself, and then wanting to share like the love, right, with
Yes.
others and kind of empowering. Like, I think this is something we both feel the same with, especially with the podcast, is like building this community of other beautiful women and building each other up.
1,000%.
Right.
Because I feel like we're at that age now where we want to leave the drama and we just want to go more towards the light, more towards the aspirations. Yes. And it's such a cool thing and we're at the age too where we realize you can't do it alone.
No.
Like we need each other more than anything.
The village, for
right?
Sure.
And I love that. I love that we're embracing our imperfections. We're embracing our, our things that we've learned. We realize that there's still so much more to learn. I'm 40. I don't know it all. There's still so much more I want to do. I have big goals for this decade.
Right.
Like,
and I think and this too, yes, having them more confidence. Like a lot of women entrepreneurs or women, successful women, they really kind of somewhat started off in their 40s and 50s.
That's so cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you have a little more life experience and then you have the confidence and a lot of times you probably have more capital to kind of get started on what you want to do too. So I think there's probably this idea previously, it's all right, so 40 you start kind of winding down. Hell no.
No.
Let's ramp
you
it
could
up.
Rev it up.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
100%.
I mean, I'm let's fucking go. I have so much more I want to do, right? We have these, we're just literally talking about our goals, goal setting. I'm not scared for the future, right?
No.
It's crazy to think
whereas in our 20s and early 30s, we probably were a little oh my God, is this decade going to work out the way we want it to work out?
Or 30, I'd be ugh, I'm so old. No, I feel like I'm still young at heart.
I remember when I turned 30, I was oh my God, I'm turning 30.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change a thing either. And I'm so happy I didn't rush all those experiences. I didn't get married till I was 30. I didn't have my first son till I was 32, my second till I was 37. And I don't regret that. I love that. I enjoyed my 20s. You have to give yourself patience. When you're younger, you want it all to work out tomorrow.
And immediately. Yeah. Right.
And you're going to have to have some times and some years even where you maybe feel like you didn't progress.
Yep.
But then something weird happens where all of a sudden you have some time where you feel like you're not progressing. And then you progress so fast.
Right.
Didn't you say that happens
Yeah,
sometimes?
definitely. It's so the best way I could describe it is a bow and arrow, right? So it's the bow part and how you have to pull it back and you feel like you're not going anywhere and all of a sudden you let it go and it's bling,
yes.
That is life.
Literally.
Not just then, but there's going to be, that's probably going to be some years
cycles,
like that. Right.
Yes.
Cycles like that. Best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
You have to lean into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And take it with grace, take it with patience. When I think about my husband in our 30s, we moved around so much, 7, 8, 9 times in a 5-year period. And where we are now, I'm God, I'm so grateful. I wake up every morning and I'm I can't believe we are where we are with our family. We get to live in this home. We have our investments. I worked really hard for it. And it's just so crazy. If I told myself in my 20s, you're going to have to go through all those moves, all those, I would have cried.
Right. Oh, no.
No. It's not a perfect trajectory. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah.
But where we ended is amazing.
Yeah.
And there's still so much more I want to do. But one of those advice I would give people is success might not be exactly the way you envision it. And it's okay. Give yourself grace to be, able to change and
twists and
flow
turns.
with it.
Yeah.
Because that's when you're going to really make magic.
Yeah, for sure. And then I would also like to comment on my fellow 40-year-old women out there. Y'all look fucking amazing.
I know.
That's what happens when you don't smoke cigarettes. our parents' generation. Yes. I feel like everyone smoked. It's watching some movie. Everyone was smoking in the movie. I was everyone just smoked.
And inside. Remember when a restaurant?
Right.
Airplanes, restaurants, when we were younger.
Yeah, so we're clearly taking better care of ourselves.
Skincare has been a big thing.
Skincare, exercise, water, sleep.
We know more, better.
Right. Yeah.
We're doing better.
Right, so.
They were saying, I saw a TikTok reel and it was there must have been something in that 80s baby formula.
Yep. Yeah, it was.
Right? All you 80s babies are looking good. And I love that because I don't know why, but for some reason when I was younger, I thought when you were 40, you gave up on your looks and your fashion.
You, turned into just a chunkaroo and
and don't get me wrong, some days I could care less. I throw on a sweater, a t-shirt, and I love that the athletic wear is popular.
Athleisure wear, yes.
But I also love the days where I get to do my makeup, my hair, I get to still dress cute and wear my shorts, these skirts and
and we haven't cut our hair short. My mom had the short haircut.
God, mom cut.
Yeah, she kept giving me that haircut too when I was little. I want long hair, Mom.
Yes. Yeah. I still want to be cute.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you look back, or the Golden Girls,
yes. Oh my God.
Blanche was in her 50s or something. You look at a 50-year-old woman now compared to that, hot damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know who I have to thank for that? This is going to be so funny and cliche. I love Housewives.
Yeah.
And I've been watching them since 2006 when they debuted.
Holy crap. It's
funny?
been around that long.
It's almost going to be 20 years.
Wow.
Isn't that wild? And I love that these were all older women who were having fun.
Yep.
And they were still failing and making mistakes. I mean, obviously they've gone through divorces and crazy stuff, but it felt like they showed me that like you can still have fun with your girlfriends.
Yep.
You can still dress beautiful for yourself. You could still build businesses. On the Housewives, so many of them have gone on to build successful businesses.
Right.
So I thank you, Housewives,
Yes.
for showing that life can still open up so many doors whenever you want it to.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like that's what I look forward to. I'm excited for the next decade and thereafter. Like I'm excited for the challenges. I'm excited for the failures. I'm excited for obviously the successes because that all goes hand in hand. You know, like I'm excited.
Me too. I'm excited for the friendships. You know what I'm excited for now too? Because now that we're in 40s and we do have more capital travel.
Yes.
Like
right. Taking our family to experience life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to get out there and explore the world, and I'm so excited to do with my friends and my family. So it's like, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I was like thinking. I'm like, where do I want to take Michael this summer?
I love that. Yeah.
You know, I'm like, it's time. Like, I want him to see the world and experience other cultures and you know that this beautiful little Monmouth County bubble we live in is
bigger.
Is not it.
Yes.
You know?
The world is bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
It's easy to get sucked into our lovely area.
I wonder how our kids see us, though. So it's like, we're just fine.
I'm like, am I a cool mom?
I know. Am I a regular mom or am I a cool mom?
Am I a cool mom?
I would like
I guess
to
at the
think
end
I
of the
am.
day, we're moms still. So
Yes.
it's like,
we're still going to be that element of like the uncool older.
right.
And it's so funny because I was thinking about, I've been with my husband for like almost 20 years. I've been with him for 20 years now.
Holy crap.
And I was thinking about the first time I met his mom. She was in her 40s.
That's, yeah.
No, my mother-in-law was in her late 40s, I believe. Like if I was 21, I think she was like 47 or something.
Yep.
And it's so wild. Like I'm just a couple years away from that.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
oh my gosh. But you know, she's always, I felt like been classy and dressed beautiful. But it's just so wild to think like we are our parents now.
Yep. Completely.
Right? It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
No, and it's like one of those things where I have to tell myself, and I'm sure you too, it's okay if I see the wrinkles or like if we change a little, we're supposed to, right? Like and after having babies, I got stretch marks. And I remember actually being so grateful because I'm like, you know what? For these stretch marks, I have my babies. Like I'm so grateful for that.
A lot of times when I'm feeling down about whatever,
Right?
my body, you know, is not what it used to be, but that's okay. Like, yes, I have to tell my brain, like, oh my God, well, this body made a awesome human being.
Yeah.
Right.
That I couldn't live without.
Right.
Yeah.
And like,
And these
someday-
laugh lines are from smiling and
Yes.
loving my life
Right.
so much. Like how grateful am I that I do get to laugh and smile.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a part of life. And I don't know, I'm here to embrace it all.
Yeah.
Right.
And however that looks, and I do love the fact that we do live in a world where there is Botox and things that you can do. And if you want to do it, no shame, do it. If you don't and you want to go gray, I love that too.
Yeah.
I love seeing people who just have like, I'm not dyeing my hair anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going all gray. But I love that there's a, you know,
People can do whatever the fuck they want.
Right.
And like, it's all good.
yeah,
Yeah.
no judgment from me.
Nope.
Whatever makes you feel beautiful,
Right.
embrace that.
Yeah, 100%. So you young gals out there, I know it's hard to think about that at the moment, but just know that you grow wiser, you
Yes.
grow funner,
Yes.
and it's all good.
And you still have fun, and you
Yeah.
can still build amazing things in
Right.
your 40s. Yeah, and have patience.
Right.
It's hard.
It'll all work out.
Yeah.
Just trust in the universe.
And take that leap.
Yeah.
Like another thing I would say is so many times, you know, in your mind, you're like, who am I to write a book? Who am I to start the podcast?
Yep.
Who am I
Yeah.
to like go out for that job? Take the leap.
Yep.
Take the leap. You'll
Yep.
figure it out. Like,
Have blind faith.
yes.
It's okay.
Just take the leap.
Yeah.
You'll thank yourself in your 40s that you took that leap. So,
Love it.
me too. I love it. I can't wait to see what this decade holds for us.
Yes.
We hope that you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think, what you're excited for in this decade, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. You know, we just want to hear.
Yeah.
Yes, from all ages. And thank you so much for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe to listen to more great content.
See you next week.